Next, maybe I'll go to Andrew, please.
Thank you so much. I think I'm the only foreigner here, totally foreign, because even those who are U.S. citizens but were born in India.
But he can speak in Tamil.
Konchum. That means I can speak a bit. This has been I want to echo what was just said. This has been a very moving experience for me. It's 35 years ago that just by chance I happened to meet Swami Lokeswarananda in Gold Park in the Institute of Culture. And then I came full circle and suddenly I'm here 35 years later. And I was telling my wife, I was texting her, I said, I met this man who was the inspiration for this really wonderful school. And this was after the first cultural performance 2 nights ago that was so beautiful, so moving, so much talent. And she said to me, you know, he drew you there. And I thought about that. Wow, that's maybe true. There was some sort of destiny involved here. Seriously, though, I've heard so many things that have inspired me in these dark times. I mean, these are difficult times in the world, not just COVID, but war, conflict, poverty, and many of the things that we heard about tonight, the hardship at the grassroots level. But I take hope and I take solace and I take joy. I take joy in the themes and the fellowship, the idea of inclusivity, of equity, and joy. The joy in that, the compassion in that is so wonderful. I've worked for about 12 years now with a group of communities in the Nilgiris, and these are tribal groups. The Irula and the Kurumba are the 2 groups I've worked the most with. One of the things that resonates with what we've done there that I heard a lot tonight was really the idea of creating future leaders within the community. To make it sustainable, it has to be taken up. The stakeholdership has to be taken up within the community, and that can be done through partnerships, educational partnerships in particular. What we've done in this program is we take Cornell students, a handful of them, not too many, we don't want to overwhelm the hills. A handful of them we take to the Nilgiris, and we pair them with community member students from the tribal community who are of the college age. And they do a course together for either 5 or 15 weeks. But when they do this course, they do research on themes that have been selected by the indigenous communities. They're not imposing their research agenda on the communities. They go and do a focus group with the tribal advisory councils, and they choose what's important, what these communities aspire to. And then our Cornell students are put in the position of learning from their colleagues, the students from the tribal community. So they're humbled, but they're learning. And this leads to a couple important points. The tribal students are learning skills from the disciplines that we impart. In my case, it's anthropology and sociology and psychiatry, mental health research, etc. But we cover a whole range of topics, and the indigenous community students want this knowledge. They want the outside knowledge that they were deprived of because of some of the factors we've heard about tonight. Discrimination, not being comfortable in the government schools. They're hungry and thirsting for this knowledge. On the one hand, and on the other hand, we respect their culture more when we are sitting at their feet and learning from them. We are learning that their culture has things within it that are of great value in terms of good climate stewardship, better forest management, interspecies relationships with the animal world. All these things are handled better in the traditional tribal societies than what has been imposed upon them with plantation economies, urbanization, waste and water, toxicity coming into the environment, and of course, climate change. We did it. We are the ones doing it, not them. So I guess I don't want to carry on and on. I could talk all night about this because it's very dear to my heart. But what we have to see is that the solutions at the local level have to be taken up by local people, and they have to be sustainable. And the way they're made sustainable is to make them culturally meaningful. So one of the projects that comes out of that in that spirit is to create community health workers as the frontline health workers in the tribal communities. And I saw some of that yesterday on our field trip as well, that kind of approach. But the idea really is that you are training people from within the community, and these happen to be the students who do the program, to go out and be the bridge between their world and the outside world, between, say, biomedical care and traditional medicine. And that involves mutual respect on both sides. It involves bridging the understandings of the traditional to the modern. our appreciation of their knowledge, not belittling, not looking down, not patronizing local knowledge, local beliefs, local values, because there's much within it that is of great value. Their myths, their stories, their ideas about nature and animals and the ancestors, it's all about reciprocity. It's about fulfilling your obligations to life in general. And what has disrupted it isn't of their own doing, but they sometimes blame themselves. They've internalized these stigmas. This is a critical thing that has to be reversed. It can be reversed by showing how much we respect and want to learn from the communities we engage with. So it's very important that we also just realize then that every society harbors knowledge and aspirations. Every society, even the most depressed looking society where you have severe problems like addiction, conflict, familial violence, things of that nature that look so depressing, you still can find a little spark. And I saw it in the children's eyes in the Shabar village yesterday, that hope, that aspiration. But even in the traditional knowledge that the elders carry and hopefully still can contain in some way, there's important solutions to be found to the problems that they face. We just have to listen and be partners, not patrons. We don't want to create patron-client ties. That happens too much in the NGO world. The funding comes in, then we decide what the agenda will be, and then we report to the donor back in the US or in the EU. That's not always very effective. There's a lot of waste involved in that and a lot of cultural misunderstanding, and people are not listened to at the grassroots level in that way. It has to be respect and knowing that every society harbors the solutions from within themselves. That means one size does not fit all. We know that. We've been hearing all day about sort of scaling up from the grassroots. And this is a critical moment when it's possible. It really is possible. I've been working with another organization called the Banyan in Chennai, and we've actually created new policy that's been accepted by the Tamil Nadu government. I can't go into detail, but also in Meghalaya now. So the idea that grassroots organizations can design policies which the governments then implement is very real. It's not just because of scarcity of resources, it's because people are learning to think outside the box. Lastly, I just want to again thank you for the warmth and hospitality that I've received, incredible hospitality. I am so grateful to be brought here by my good colleague and my wonderful host, Madam Bharati and Ranjana. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm sorry I carried on, but I just was so excited I couldn't help myself.
Thank you very much.